a locked down quarterback relatively with dead cap on the financial side of things. That's number 2. And number 3, he stinks. They need to make a change, so that's why they kind of buried him in the depth chart a little bit.
So you said he's locked down. He's also a locked down corner, apparently, too.
Crazy.
You told me this story before the show. Playing defensive back.
As scout safety.
Unbelievable. I
have a problem with that.
I do, too.
That looks bad.
And they've handled this poorly. This is very embarrassing on the Giants side. I understand benching a guy, right? I understand second string. I understand third string.
And the financial reasons behind making him third string and suiting up the whole thing.
But making him – listen, I'm sure he's probably like, guys, whatever I could do to help the team, because that's the kind of player Daniel Jones is. I understand that. But at the same time, as an organization, put your damn foot down. You're going to have your quarterback that's making $20, $25 million a year playing scout team safety. This is Bush League stuff. This is worse than college, worse than high school. What are we doing here? We're a professional franchise. The Giants are a professional franchise. And they have a guy making $25 million a year, $40 million a year on a scout team.
And I don't think it's for lack of bodies. Maybe Daniel Jones was bored, needed something to do. The problem is you're not handling this right because you're making Daniel Jones look bad now. And now you got the players in the locker room. I saw a number of players, including Dexter Lawrence, probably their best overall player to media availability, saying that they're handling this poorly. Outwardly saying that they should not be doing Daniel Jones like this, and they should treat him with a little bit more respect for somebody who's given 6 years to that franchise. Now it's 6 years of, pretty subpar football. But in all things considered, they won a playoff game.
Right, and I feel like the players like him too. He's a likable guy.
He's a likable guy. And there's one thing you can never hold against Daniel Jones. He never played soft. He was a tough, hard-nosed player. He tried his hardest to be available, and he did whatever he could to win. It was never pretty. It was never beautiful, but he was inconsistent enough to where he could hang around. He won a game at the right time so he could get an extension. That's the nature of the NFL nowadays. It's a bad contract. The Giants need to go a different direction. All of that can be true. But another thing that can be true is that Daniel Jones deserves no ill intention from the New York Giants, whether it be via the coaching staff or the front office. He deserves, I'm not saying he deserves a tribute video and a send-off, but treat him with a little bit more respect. And whether this is Daniel Jones' decision or not is one thing. But here's another thing. Daniel Jones was made available to the media today due to these reports, and I was expecting something a little bit more authentic, but what Daniel Jones came out, we have the audio for this, what Daniel Jones came out and said is a scripted, very clearly, if you saw the video, you could see that he's reading something, a statement, if you will, and he came out and said something along the lines of taking responsibility, and to me, this sounds like a retirement speech. Let's take a listen to Daniel Jones at media availability at Giants practice today.
For the chance to play here. The Giants are truly a first-class organization, and I have nothing but genuine respect and appreciation for the people who have built it and who helped carry on that tradition. I've met so many special people and created relationships that will truly last a lifetime. Thank you to all my teammates, coaches, and staff that have done so much for me these past 6 years. There have been some great times, but of course, we all wish there had been more of those. I take full responsibility for my part in not bringing more wins.
Now, Daniel, I don't know if you didn't realize this. We're in week 12, brother.
Right.
There is still a number of games to be played. That sounds like a retirement speech. That sounds like he's on death's door and he's addressing everybody before he goes to meet the Grim Reaper.
How did the Giants let him do?
Well, that sounds like it was scripted by Giants PR.
That's why,
Giants PR gave him that.
How do you number one, I'm with you. I think that the Giants PR did this. Shame on them. That's why I'm freaking out about the Giants today. But number two, even if they didn't, and Daniel Jones came out and wanted to do this, how do you let that guy go up in front of a microphone and say that? This is a PR nightmare. I thought the Giants were an organization that, I don't want to say, I think had a little more class. I guess that's the right word I'm looking for.
It's not classy, yeah.
How do you let a guy that's given 6 years of his career, won you a playoff game? I know things have not been pretty the last couple of years, and he has not lived up to the contract, but how do you let that guy stand up there and do that? And it's not shocking to me that a couple...
Commend the ownership, commend the front office, commend the fans.
So odd to me. And that front office, as far as I'm concerned, those guys are lucky to be there. Colin, I know you like a lot of the pieces that are on that team, and they have good players. I understand that. But those guys are lucky to be there with how horrible the last couple of years have went. Shame on the Giants for this. I saw this earlier. I could barely stomach it watching it, honest.
Yeah, it's a rough look. And for me, I understand the idea that you don't want to get Jones hurt. You don't want to stick him in a game because you're probably going to use him as a trade asset or whatever it may be. But the idea that Jones has to sit up there at week 12 midweek when he is QB4 playing scout safety in practice, it sounds like a joke. It sounds like a practical joke. That's what it really sounds like. A guy who was starting at quarterback who has been readily available, Eli Manning's replacement. He was the famous Eli Manning who took down Brady twice in the big one. He was that replacement. That was Daniel Jones, and he won you guys a playoff game. To me, whether Daniel Jones wanted to do all the stuff at practice or not, I'm not there. I can't comment to that. But what I do know that Daniel Jones will do is he'll play it safe. He'll push all the right buttons in regards to the media, in regards to the coaches, in regards to his teammates. He is not something that people speak illy about. He is not somebody that deserves any sort of criticism based on how he carries himself. Now, his on-field performance can totally be criticized. But the fact that they're making him sit up there and address
read off
the
a
media,
teleprompter for
read off a statement that the Giants scripted for him that basically thanks the team, thanks the ownership, thanks the front office for the opportunity, thanks his teammates, and then takes all the blame for their wrongdoings is a little much.
It's much, and it sounds like you said, retirement speech, and I'll even take it a step further. It sounds like he's being traded. It sounds like he's already off the team. Brother, week 12? Would you say week 12? Come on. As an organization, Giants have to be better. I feel bad for Daniel Jones, and
you got to feel for the guy. He plays hard.
You do. And listen, I've been
He's not that good, but he plays hard.
I've been, as you've astutely pointed out, I've been his biggest critic when it comes to on-field stuff. But the kid is a class act, and I honestly, God, could barely stomach watching the crap that we watched. And I know people had the Tommy DeVito fever and whatever. Come on, he's better than Tommy DeVito.
And they're not even handling it properly because now Drew Lock goes to the media in media availability on Monday, and he says, I was under the impression I was quarterback too, and he was clearly distraught with the decision to go Tommy DeVito. So if you were to really dial this down and try to boil down the reason that the Giants, number one, put Jones at the bottom of the depth chart, getting reps behind Tim Boyle, and you're trying to make sense of the fact of why Daniel Jones is that low. And number two, why Tommy DeVito is the starter over Drew Lock, who is a more proven, more capable, and clearly a more talented quarterback than Daniel Jones. There's a couple reasons you could probably chalk it up to. Number one, ticket sales. Tommy DeVito is an Italian guy who embodies New York, and he was a fun story, and his agent, and they played that game against Green Bay on Monday Night Football last year, and everybody got into it for about a grand total of 8 hours total during TV time. That was one reason. Another reason is Tommy DeVito, in a lot of ways, does not put you in as good of a position to win comparatively to Drew Lock, so maybe they're trying to maximize draft position. Whether you want to call it that or not is up to you. But the idea that they're just trying to sell tickets now and create a story instead of giving Drew Lock a chance. Drew Lock probably went there thinking I could go get a shot.
Agreed.
Because who knows what's going on with Daniel Jones. And I like Drew Lock, and he's played pretty well in his career. Pretty up and down, but probably deserves a shot there. This looks bad. This looks amateur. For the New York Giants, one of the more famed, historical, and monumental franchises in the entire league, it looks amateur.
And we talk to Mike Tannenbaum every week, former NFL GM, and he mentioned Drew Lock by name. He goes, Colin and Riz, they probably go Drew Lock if Daniel Jones is the guy. He's a capable backup. We've seen him have some success in this league. I mean, Lock's been with the Broncos. He's been with the Seahawks. He's had numerous teams where he's at least been able to sling the football a little bit. And I'm with you on the whole DeVito thing. They're trying to sell tickets, and they're trying to
get his agent on the sideline.
Yeah, they're trying to maximize.
Stupid.
They're trying to maximize a story for a crappy year. And it's been a crappy year there in New York. And I can't express enough how much I think this is a bad look of having Jones go up there and suck up to the world-class organization who arguably has a GM and a head coach that should be fired.
Now, there's one thing that Jones has made plenty of money from that organization, money that he probably doesn't deserve. So that's one thing. So at the very least, monetarily, he's been compensated. But he's handled himself right. The least you could do is put him at second, maybe even third. I'll listen to that for the financial reasons. And just let him stay out of the way. to make him do all this stuff, the nonsense sides, the side stories that you're creating out of this. The Giants are now a big story this whole week because of how they're handling the quarterback position.